it's Melanie from MelanieKham.com. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, new crochet tutorial for you. We're going to be making this adorable drawstring bag. So this is the rainbow color palette. This is more like a t-shirt style yarn. And here is a worsted weight kind of self-striping yarn. This is the one that I'm actually making in the video. As always, written instructions, free printable instructions on my blog, which is first link down below. Let's jump right in. I'm going to show you how to make it. If you have never made the star stitch, I recommend doing a swatch of it first. This is more of an advanced beginner project, and so I'm going to teach this as though you know the basics of crochet and you can crochet in the round and you are roughly familiar with this stitch. Of course, I'll still go through all the steps. I'm just going to move through them pretty quickly so this video is not too long. So let's get started. We're going to begin with our bottom of our bag. Okay, so no matter what yarn you are using, you can pick the hook size that is recommended on the package. They're usually about a 5mm, 6mm in that range. And we are going to start with a magic ring. I have a whole video on that if you're not familiar with it. But if you've crocheted things in the round, hopefully you are. And like always, all of the written instructions are on my blog. We are going to start with 10 half double crochets inside of our magic circle with a total of 10 stitches. So a half double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, all 3. Half double crochet, we need a total of 10. Okay, we've got 10, so we can tighten up our magic ring. Join with a slip stitch to that first stitch. Now we're going to chain 1. And now we're going to do 2 half double crochets in each stitch going all of the way around. Slip stitch, chain 1 again. We need a total of 20 stitches. So not going in that stitch we're coming out of right here with the chain 1. We're going 2. And you can always just double check yourself that you didn't miss a stitch or anything at the end and make sure you have 20. And I will have that number for every single round. Right, so 2 half double crochet in each stitch all the way around. Okay, here's how it looks. We have 18. So in this last stitch, another 2 half double crochet. All right, slip stitch to that first stitch. Chain 1. Now we need to do 2 half double crochets and then 1. And then 2 half double crochets and then 1. And that will give us a total of 30. So here's our first 2. Then we're going to do 1. And then 2 again. Repeat that all the way around. Make sure you've got 30. Our last stitch, so we have 2 and then 1 half double crochet, slip stitch, chain 1. Now the next round, you'll notice a pattern here. We've got a few more rounds of this increasing. We're going to do 2 double crochet and then 1, 2. 2 in the same stitch, then 1, 2. Repeating 2 in the same stitch, 1, 2. That will be a total of 40. So go ahead and pause the video. All right, so go ahead and do that all the way around. So here's our last stitch. Slip stitch to that first stitch. Chain 1. Now you might be able to guess we're going to do 2 half double crochets and then 1, 2, 3. 2, 1, 2, 3. That's going to give us a total of 50. So go ahead and do that. Here we go, our last stitch. And your base will likely be a little bit wavy like this. That is good, that's what you want, because we want it to be nice and dense and flat for us to have our bag. So different yarns will look a little bit different, but if yours is a little bit wavy like this, totally fine. Okay, so this is our last round of increasing. Chain 1, then we're gonna do, just like we've been doing, 2 half double crochet, and this time it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 half double crochet, 4, 2 half double crochet, just like we've been doing in that same pattern. This time it will be a total of 66 stitches. We just finished. I made sure that there were 60 stitches. It's important to make sure we've got an even number in order for the star stitches to work. So make sure you didn't miss anything. And I'm just slip stitching. Don't do the chain 1 because we're going to launch right into our star stitch. And I also want to point out, this is the worsted weight. This is a bigger t-shirt yarn, and this is a thinner, like a size 3 or like a sport yarn. This is all the same pattern. So the sizing is different based on the yarn size. If you wanted a smaller bag, you would have a smaller base. And then as you go up, you just have less rows to make it proportional. So in order to do our star stitch, we chain 2. And hopefully you're sort of familiar with this. If you did a little swatch or you followed along with my video when I first put it out, you insert your hook into that first chain, pull up a loop, the second chain, pull up a loop, and then into that first, so not into the one that we're coming out of, we're gonna go into that first stitch, pull up a loop, and then the next one, pull up a loop. So now we've got 5 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all of them, and that last one is a little tricky with this first star. Okay, chain 1. And that little chain 1 is the eye of our star, so I'm going to refer to that later. So insert our hook into that eye, pull up a loop, insert our hook into the previous stitch that we used up already. So we're pulling up that loop. So now we've got 3 loops, and now we're going to go into our 2 new stitches. That's why this is a multiple of 2. 5 loops, yarn over, pull through all of them, chain 1. Okay, one more time. Insert our hook, pull up a loop, insert our hook into that stitch we used already, but the last one. Insert our hook, pull up a loop, and now in the next 2. Five loops, pull all the way through, chain 1. Okay, you can see the beginnings of our star stitch. So go ahead and finish that same thing. Keep going all the way around. I'll meet you here. All right, I'm finishing up this first round. This is how it's looking. Now I finished this last star stitch. Let me put my hand back here so you can see it. Now there should be 2 stitches left. Here's the one that was used in the previous round, and then 1, 2. That's right, okay? So that is how it should be for yours as well. There should be 2 remaining. Also, I want to point out the stitches are starting to form the sides of our bag, but this is the right side. Okay, so this is going to be important in just a second. This is the right side. So I want you to kind of flip the bag so that you don't get confused since it's flipping up. This is the right side of our stars, and that's going to be important in just a second. But let's go ahead and finish our last star. Okay, 5 loops, chain 1. Okay, now we're going to join with the other side. So we're going to find that first stitch, and slip stitch. So we're going to chain 2. And then we're going to flip our work, because in order to complete, if you did your swatch, in order to complete the top part of our stitch, we need to work back the other direction, and we're putting 2 half double crochets in the eye of that star. Okay, so we did chain 2, then we're going to do, see that in the eye of the star right here, these little chain 1s. Okay, and if you need to look at the back side to double check that, and that's what we're going to need to do to finish out this first round of stars. So 2 half double crochets, and then go right over to the next eye and 2 half double crochets. So then when you look at it from this side, you can see those stars. All right, so go ahead and finish doing this round. And then there's one more little stitch here, so we're going to go ahead and put a half double crochet in there, because otherwise it's going to leave like a little bit of a gap. Okay. Okay, so remember, this is the back side, right? You can tell it's kind of like the back side. It's not quite as pretty as the side. So when we slip stitch, then turn your work again. Okay, so remember, this is the front side, and when we're doing the star stitch with those 5 loops, that is from, you need to be doing that from the front side. Okay, it's really important. I screwed this up on one of my samples, and I was looking at it, I'm like, what is wrong with that row? Oh, it's backwards. Okay, so really make sure when you're doing your row of 5, the 5 loops, that first pass of the star stitch, you're doing it from the front side of your bag. Learn from my mistake. Okay, so from this side, we're going to chain 2. Okay, and then begin that first star stitch again. Okay, so that first stitch, pull, or that chain, pull up a loop, insert into the next chain and pull up a loop. Because we added that little half double crochet, we're actually going to skip over that and go right into the one on top of the previous. So see here, so we're just going to skip over it. Pull up a loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Chain 1. So that's going to stack those stars right on top of each other. All right, so we are going to then do another first round of star stitches. Right, so there's our eye, there's our previous round, and then our next 2. Chain 1. Okay, so go ahead and finish that first round of our star stitches again, and then I'll show you when I get back here again. Finishing up this next round, and just like the last time, we need to have, so this one's being used, 1, 2 stitches left. Okay, so that's how it should look at the end of the round. All right, 5 loops, yarn over, pull through, chain 1. Find that top stitch and slip stitch. Okay, then we're going to chain 2. Remember, we're going to turn to the back side, and we're going to do 2 double crochets in the eye of that star, going all the way around. So there's 1 and 2. Here's our last eye here, so we need 2. And then remember, this is where we're putting that half double crochet just to kind of close that up, but then we need to skip it. If you're going to change your color, I changed my color on this sample every 2 rounds of stars. So that's 4 rounds total, because each star is made up of 2 rounds, right? So 2 rows of stars, so that would be now. So what you would do is you would insert your hook, grab your new color and pull that through. But remember, you are looking at the wrong side right now, so you're gonna need to turn your work, chain 2. Okay, so that's the only extra consideration that you need to make if you're gonna change your color. Otherwise, you'll just do that like normal. I'm not gonna change my color for this one because I'm using like the self-striping, so I wanna show you guys how that's gonna look. So just like we did before, slip stitch to the top of that first stitch, not the turning chain. Okay, we're going into the top of the first stitch. Slip stitch, turn our work, chain 2, and then we'll start again. So let me just show you that real quick. We're skipping this first one. I'm going right into the top of that previous star. And there's lots of different ways you can do this join. If you have a way that looks a little bit different or works a little bit better for you, that's fine too. But I've done a couple of different versions, and this was the way I thought looked the best in the end and was the easiest to teach. Chain 1, continue on like we've been doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rounds of stars. That would be 18 rounds total, but that's 9 stars. And then I will meet you there to do our round for our drawstring. So go ahead and pause the video or check out the written instructions and I'll meet you up here. Now we're going to do a double crochet round. So all that is 1 double crochet in each stitch going all the way around, and that is how we're going to thread the drawstring, is with that double crochet. Once we do that double crochet round, then it's just going to be 2 more rounds of stars, so then an additional 4 rounds, and then we are done with the bag. So we're in the home stretch. After that, we'll do the ties. So all it is for the double crochet round is chain 2, and then we're going to double crochet. Don't start in this stitch that we just came out of, in the next stitch over. We'll do 1 double crochet in each stitch all the way around. Okay, so go ahead and do that. We will join it. And then again, we'll do our chain 2 and continue with our last few star stitches. Now remember, we're still going to skip this first stitch because we want to have those stars stacked right on top of each other. We're going to skip that first double crochet. All right, finish up those last 2 star rounds and then I'll meet you there and show you how to do the tie. All right, we are done with the body of our bag. Look at how cute that is. Okay, so I'm gonna just slip stitch it closed. Okay, and we can cut our yarn. Leave yourself, 5 or 6 inches so that you can weave it in. We'll yarn over and pull that through. So we can weave that in later. You could do that with a yarn needle and just put it on the inside of the bag and weave it back and forth until you feel it's secure. So now we need to do our tie. If you want to use something like, this is macrame rope, and I have it threaded through on both sides. Okay, so that you can make it kind of like a drawstring kind of bag. This one just has the 1, and this is made with a crochet tie. So you could use ribbon, you could crochet a tie. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So start with a slip knot. And depending on whatever size you made, you're going to chain large enough to go around 2 times. We're going to keep with our half double crochet theme. So we're going to make our tie half double crochet. You're going to skip one of these foundation chains. So we'll yarn over, insert our yarn into the second, or insert our hook rather, into that second chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over all 3, pull through all 3. And then we're gonna do 1 stitch in each chain all the way down. Okay, so that's how you're going to make your tie. Here's kind of how it looks. So if you only want to use 1 tie, then you're going to just go over under 2 of those double crochets like here, and then come out. You know, you could leave some space here, and then that will make it so that you can tighten it tight in a bow. If you would like for it to be drawstring style like this, you'll take your cord or your ribbon or your crochet and weave it over under, same thing, with 2 of those double crochets. You'll come in on one side, go all the way around, come back out, and use a yarn needle for this. It's really helpful. But then when you need to do the other side, you'll do the same thing, following the exact same path. So you can see that's where the 2 are. And then you'll go around, here's the other side. And then that will make it more of a drawstring style. I've got my ends tied here just so that it won't come apart no matter how far wide you open it. So finish that up, and then we've got this adorable bag.